Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe that you are today's guest from the Ringer tailgate and the press box of the fastest 10-year-old in America, 1988. Joel Anderson. What's going on, big dog?
Man, I'm glad to be here, man. How you doing? You hanging in?
Man, look at you accepting the reality of the situation.
I'm not going to be baited. Well, actually, you know what? So I got 2 things. I'm trying to figure out the direction I want to go right now.
You got to figure out how you want to be a hater.
Yeah,
like,
I'm just trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what kind of show I want to have today, man. You know, I was actually because I came in here actually empathetic for you, man. I was thinking about Bomani when he was like 21, 22 years old. And he's like really wanted to go see one of his favorite artists, James Brown. James Brown's in town, man. He's really looking forward to going. And he ain't had nobody on his roster, so he couldn't go. You know, he missed out. And then James Brown didn't live to make it too much longer. And he never got to see James Brown. And it's just sad that you didn't have nobody you could take to the James Brown show, man.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, man, you tweeted it the other day.
Yeah, I said I didn't know nobody wanted to roll with me. That was a little less about the roster than going to see James Brown. It's just like anybody want to go see James Brown. Like that was wow.
It was just sad. I just felt sad that you didn't have nobody to want to go with you.
Let me tell you how dedicated this motherfucker is to being a hater. You realize what a stretch and how difficult it was. No. Do you realize how difficult it was to try to turn that story about something literally over half my life ago?
I was just thinking about because sometimes that's a part of life. I'm just like, man, that was, you know, I was thinking about the missed opportunities and, you know, you being
if I was living like you was living when I was living like you was living when you was in Oklahoma, you'd have had somebody to roll with you to the James Brown concert who, you know, might even look like she married James Brown.
All right. So I also want to say something about
you might want to go to the happy places.
I was just gonna say also. I was gonna say, man, are you cheating? Are you cheating?
Mm-mm.
You're not cheating?
Mm-mm.
You sure?
You're 0 for 2, Joel.
No,
you're
okay.
0 for 2.
Sure.
You're 0 for.
All right. Well, I mean, you don't get to decide. The people will decide, not you. But anyway, I just think it's just sad that I have to come here coming up with material to kind of keep you off of me because I just know how that's you were gonna be. You didn't even.
That material is not keeping me off of you. That material is telling everybody how correct I am. But rather than talking to my good friend who simply is a hater, let's talk about somebody that I actually fucking hate.
Man.
Right? Like it's okay. I need to stop saying that I hate this dude because I don't know him, and it's Lane Kiffin. And I was going to say I've never spoken to Lane Kiffin, but I have spoken with Lane Kiffin before because we had Lane Kiffin on HQ that same year he got fired on the tarmac. Had him because we used to get like the coaches from all the conferences used to go up to Bristol and they would do the car wash and they would go through and do all the shows. And so the Pac-10 coaches was up there one day. They'd all pull up in their polos. You know what I'm saying? And so Lane Kiffin comes on and we do the interview with that jerk. And then we get to the place where it's time to, you know, for Poppy to ask a question. And so we reset. And I forget what question Poppy asked. But, you know, Poppy has this very thick accent. And he asked the question. And Lane Kiffin stops and goes, "Hey, speak English."
Oh, my God.
Yes. So anyway. I have spoken to Lane Kiffin, and that is what happened.
Wow.
And anyway, now Lane Kiffin coach at Ole Miss. At least I think he'll still be coaching at Ole Miss by the time you guys hear this. They say they're going to make an announcement after the Egg Bowl about what's going to happen with Lane Kiffin's future. And the only thing that I can conclude thus far is Lane Kiffin just messy, right? That's the only way to put this. He's just messy. We got this word out that LSU has said they're going to offer $25 million of NIL on top of a $90 million contract, which is the kind of thing that your agent puts out there to tell Florida that they own the clock, because this is exactly what Trace Armstrong did with Tom Herman in 2016, with LSU as the bait to get the number up, to get Texas. It wasn't even about get the number up. It was hurry up and fire Charlie Strong because y'all ain't even did that yet, right? But this is the game that gets played. And so either Lane goes to Florida or Lane goes to LSU or Lane stays at Ole Miss. To me, the messiest thing that his little messy ass could ever do was go to LSU because of how messy LSU is as a top to bottom situation. Like, he's a fool if anything is at all close and he chooses to walk into the madness that is LSU in this moment.
Man, first of all, I just, for a second, that situation that you described on the Levitard show, man, what was it called?
Highly questionable.
Highly questionable. Yeah, okay, my bad. Well, it's highly questionable with Dan Levitard, But anyway. Hey, what? That was.
What are you doing?
Okay, just slow down. Let me just make the point here, okay?
Let me slow down. I'll ask you, what were you doing? And now you telling me to slow down. You need to slow down.
Wow. I was thinking of the Ta-Nehisi clip when they replayed that.
Wow, that's really racist.
Well, that's really racist. Yeah, that's what was going through my head. I was like, wow, that's really racist.
I was hot.
Did y'all run that? Y'all didn't run that?
Yes, we did.
Oh, my God. I don't remember that.
Yeah, we ran that. And it was one of those things where, like, I guess this happened to white people sometimes when people say some wild shit to black people, and the black person be like, oh, man, that happens every day, dog. Dan seemed to take it in stride, and I was like,
yeah.
I'm new here. You know what I'm saying? I'm about ready to ride for the homie in this moment.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, no wonder you feel that way about him. And I mean, he's not a likable person.
No. That's on the list. I feel this way about him because he's him. I hate the way that he walked, the way that he talked. I hate everything about Lane Kiffin.
It's kind of crazy because, man, the thing is, if he could stay at Ole Miss, and you can just kind of keep the hate distilled in one place. I don't have to be
right. I don't have to redistribute.
Yeah, right.
Like,
it could be.
I don't hate LSU. Right there.
Yeah,
like right now, I don't hate LSU. Yeah. I don't hate Florida. Right.
Right.
But so before we get back to Lane Kiffin, I want to talk about this part right fast because you're a great person to talk about this with. And I don't know if you saw this, but Stephen A. made the point on First Take that the brothers don't want to go play in Oxford, Mississippi, that they would rather go to Baton Rouge or they would rather go to Gainesville. Paul Feinbaum took offense to that with the whole, the South is different argument and so forth and so on. Now, I will say this. Have you ever been to Oxford?
I've been through it. I've not stayed very long. But yeah.
Okay, so I have not been to Oxford.
Okay.
But the Oxford, as I am told, is not so bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like Oxford, the town. Stephen A. putting that in the context of the town, right, is kind of like, but for white people in like Baton Rouge, looking at Baton Rouge, kind of like, yuck. But young black person, Baton Rouge sounds right on time.
I got
this right here. I got that over there on the other side of town. Oh, okay. So I got Southern and I got LSU.
And New Orleans ain't that far away.
Right. Yeah. But I could understand somebody making the argument that Oxford is a place they would rather be than Baton Rouge, or saying that they don't believe that Oxford as a town, racially speaking, is necessarily that much different, like in terms of animus or whatever, than Baton Rouge. I would get that point. However, I think what Stephen A. was saying is reflective of men of a certain age. And I would say in this category, while Stephen A. is older than you or I, we are men of the same age, and that's the age that remember.
Oh,
right.
We remember
that's the age that remember that. There's no circumstance under which I would you're not going to fool me. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
There's no circumstance under which I would ever, if I was a father, approve of my kid going to play at Ole Miss. Right. As long as they insist upon being called Ole Miss.
Right.
There's no way that would ever happen. There's no way that I would ever go for that.
I could understand if people disputed whether or not this was a generational thing, because I do wonder, like, how black kids growing up in this generation feel about Ole Miss, because they weren't confronted with the signs that we saw. Like, the first thing that I remember about an Ole Miss game was seeing Confederate flags flying in the stands.
And how wild it is that they would even put that on TV.
Yeah, man, that was a big part of the pageantry of the stadium in those days, right? And I mean, just from the colors to the iconography to the mascot itself, it is a real hard sell for black people of a certain age. And those people are parents now, and young grandparents. And so when their kids are going to school there probably are those people are saying, hey, man, you sure that's something you really want to do?
Well, and schools have to deal with that long legacy. Like the back and forth that we have about Texas football is in line with this, right? That if you are of a certain range, and differences, like I say, my people did not grow up in Texas. Yours did, right? So like that means something different in that regard. But for those people who are of a certain age, University of Texas is not a place. It took a long time for them to overcome that. And as bad as Texas was on race, they might as well have been goddamn University of Houston compared to being Ole Miss, right?
Yeah, I mean, because the funny thing about it is that Texas, in terms of like policy or whatever, it may actually been a little bit worse because they're the ones that came up with the LSAT. Like they're the one, like they came up with, and they were this is sort of a victim of circumstance, but they had the last all-white national champion in college football, right? But I mean, I don't think it was probably the most racist place, but the thing about Ole Miss is not only did it have that legacy of segregation and the fight over desegregation, but they just held on to the fight for so long.
Into the 21st century.
That even Tommy Tuberville had to tell them, can you guys please put those flags down? Because it is hard to get people here, right? It is hard to recruit here. Yeah.
They had to trick them into getting rid of the flags. And for people who don't know, the only reason they stopped waving those Confederate flags, and it wasn't really big Confederate flags, it was little ones. Right. And what they outlawed were the sticks.
Yep.
And they deemed that the sticks were a safety hazard. And that's how they were able to get people to stop waving the Confederate flag at games. But this is the part where I feel like people are dishonest and disingenuous on this matter. So why do you think Ole Miss isn't as good as the schools around them? You see what I'm saying? Like, because look, on its face, Florida obviously is a great job. But Florida's a weird job because Florida is really 3 states in one: North Florida, Central Florida, and South Florida. You still have to recruit nationally to win at Florida, right? LSU even, you still have to recruit nationally to get it done. But with Florida has the advantage of being in the middle where, like in Miami, for example, Miami and Tallahassee, that's not a drive.
No,
right? I mean, it's like 6 hours, but like it's,
you wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, they're in totally different places. You're not going to have that much luck getting North Florida kids to come down to play at Miami and vice versa, right? I mean, there are obviously examples like Devontae Freeman and Dalvin Cook going from Miami to Florida State, but you get what I'm saying is that it's geographically a funny. You're not just getting every player you want out of the state of Florida.
Absolutely.
Just to go to the University of Florida. It's not really how it works. Ole Miss, you got access to Memphis, right? Mississippi has a lot of football players.
Isn't it shocking? Were you shocked at how close Memphis is to Ole Miss?
45 minutes away.
I'm thinking it makes it even worse in my eyes because I'm like, oh, they've always been close to Memphis. They could have been able to tap into that, but why do they think they've not been able to tap into Memphis all these years?
Well, it's so funny, Steve. No, they know why they haven't. First of all, they weren't trying that hard.
Right?
Like somebody once made the point to me about the state of Mississippi that the greatest running back in the history of the state of Mississippi, probably the greatest quarterback in the history of the state of Mississippi, and the second greatest quarterback in the history of the state of Mississippi, and the greatest wide receiver in the history of the state of Mississippi. None of them went to Ole Miss or Mississippi State. And I am talking about Walter Payton, Brett Favre, Steve McNair, and Jerry Rice.
Yeah, man.
Now, I've been told that Jerry Rice got an offer from Mississippi State, but they were running the bone. I'm not exactly sure. I think Emory Ballard was coaching then, so I'm not exactly sure. But none of those other guys got offers from the big schools. Like, I mean, Ole Miss was so racist that you didn't offer Walter Payton.
I mean, isn't it still not true that Jackson State has more Hall of Famers than Ole Miss and Mississippi State combined?
It's got to be because they got 5.
Yeah, right. So I was like, I mean, if you just want to know, like, for those people, that's also the thing. I'm like,
hold on. I think Mississippi Valley might have more.
They might,
because Mississippi Valley got 2.
See, yeah. I mean,
by the way, and the 2 are Deacon Jones and Jerry Rice.
Ooh, I mean, that's some. I mean, just think about. I mean, things have really changed culturally in our country. But think about how racist you are to have not got in on any of those people, man. Like,
think about how racist you are. That Alabama was like, nah, dog. y'all better get with the wave,
right? Yeah. Yeah, I was like, man, can y'all please cool out some of that stuff? South Carolina got in line a little bit before Ole Miss on that front, right?
By the way, Ole Miss with Patrick Willis just got their 3rd
Okay.
But they have 3. One's name is Bruiser Kennard. And I mean, all players that I assume they went in the Hall of Fame before, the New World Order came into effect. Deacon Jones, I think, is like a dual. Like he went to South Carolina State and he went to Valley. I believe that's what the story is with him.
Okay.
South Carolina State, by the way, has 4.
Damn.
Yeah. South Carolina State has 4. Jackson State has 4.
4, right.
Grambling has, I want to say 6. No, Grambling has 4.
Grambling only has 4. Okay.
I thought it was more than that, but Grambling has 4. Southern has 3. Texas Southern has 2.
Mm-hmm.
We can go on and on this. But anyway, people are not honest about this when it comes to Ole Miss. Why? Like Stephen Godfrey had the line once. Basically, it was something to the effect of Ole Miss wonders why it's not as good as Alabama, just like Texas wonders why it's not as good as Oklahoma, as if the answer isn't staring you directly in the face.
I mean,
y'all was late to the game. And so to me, this Ole Miss should not be a job that you feel like you have to leave to go to LSU for or Florida. It shouldn't be. Like, to me, if Lane
the blackest state in the union.
Right. And look, now that the money in the SEC is what it is, I do think that they have a younger alumni base that's got some bread that they can throw around. You're no longer fighting off, in large part, what you and I have just been talking about in terms of historical legacy, except for the fact that's the only reason why you wouldn't be as good.
Right. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, so I see why like a cat like Firebaum would sound the way he does. For example, Ole Miss has had a black quarterback in the last 20 years, which I cannot say about Georgia.
Man, I guess, since
Shockley. And look what it took for him to play.
Yeah, man.
Justin Fields couldn't get on the field.
Did DeJuan Mathis go there? Am I making that up? Is DeJuan Mathis the kid that went to Georgia?
He did, but I have to say, I watched that young man play.
He was
wild up. He was real. Yeah. He was real wild up. Like I understood what had gone down there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Ole Miss is it's an interesting discussion about Ole Miss. But Ole Miss should be a job that's good enough to stay at. Like you've demonstrated that you can win You've demonstrated that right now you can win 11 games at Ole Miss. You've shown that. You should not have to leave that to go to LSU or to Florida. Neither of which I would argue in the last 5 years has been as good as Ole Miss.
No, not really. No.
Right? And look, and I also say this about Lane. I think Lane's overrated. I think that we still treat Lane like he's a child, like he's not 50 years old, like Lane just needs to turn the corner. How many chances is Lane going to get? He's had so many good jobs. Whichever one of these jobs that Lane gets will be the 3rd best job that he's ever had.
Damn. That's right, because he had USC and he had
the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, I mean,
weird a job. And by the way, Al Davis was right about that boy.
Yeah, that's true.
He's an embarrassment. He is consistently
Tennessee was a good job.
And he embarrassed him. And he embarrassed them just like Al said he would. Embarrassed USC so bad they fired him on the sideline. They made the decision on the sideline. They fired him on the tarmac.
I see, man. You really be driving in with the tarmac shit because you love to talk about how you got fired on the tarmac. That's the second time you about that tarmac.
I love it. Well, you have to remember, and for those who don't know, in the year 2013, they're standing on the side, like they are getting boat raced by Arizona State. I want to say they gave up something like 600 yards. They made it give it up like 60 points. Like it was really bad. And so as the game is going on, they're showing these clips of the athletic director on the sideline huddling up with somebody. And it's like, hey, guys, I think he's going to get fired after this game.
But it stops today.
We didn't. It stops now.
It stops now.
It stops now. But they didn't even wait till the next day. They fired him. The plane landed, and they fired him right then and there. He has also gotten fired preparing for a bowl game. Not just any bowl game, the national championship game, because Nick Saban felt like this guy was acting like too much of a clown and not preparing for the game and focused on his next job.
Well,
fired him.
How much of this is you bringing up old shit? Because, I mean, look, man, I'm going to be open to the idea that I don't think Lane Kiffin is an elite coach, right? But I do think there is an argument to be made that it was really tough to win at FAU. He seems to have been the only person that has done that in recent memory.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is, for whatever people say about it now, nobody thought about it the way that they think about it right now before he got there. He's shown proof of concept. Those are places that are not really easy to win. Fair. But I also think that he's gotten some breaks, right, in those places that, like, he got the tail end of Alabama. LSU has not been operating the way that it should be operating, right? Arkansas is not really a threat to them. So, you know, he had an opportunity to feast in a way that a lot of other guys aren't. And then now he's going to have to compete against Texas and Oklahoma, and Georgia is good now. So I think that job is going to look, in 3 years, if he's not there, it's going to look a lot different. I think that he could continue to be a 9 to 10 win year coach at Ole Miss. To your point, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure if the Lane thing works at LSU for all the reasons you said. Like, LSU appears to be a mess.
They just had a coach that people don't like.
Right. That's right. Right. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Because, you know, my co-host Van is an LSU fan, and he talks about, you know, men win at LSU, not just coaches, men win there. And I'm like, so what about Lane Kiffin do you all like then? Like, does he fit the archetype of the guy that you want to have as the face of your program? I just don't feel like, I mean, to the extent that people worry about culture fit, that's the thing. I'm like, does he really fit there? I feel like Florida feels like it's in third place right now, but it feels like that would be the best fit. Yeah, it feels like that would be the best fit for him.
Well, hold on. When did they get in third place? Because when this all started, he was in. They were in first place. He is the spiritual successor to Steve Spurrier, and I do think, though, that this is something that is important. That different places want different styles of play.
Yes.
And simply winning is not enough, right? LSU, they want to run the ball. They don't necessarily want to run the ball every play. Like, obviously, they were pretty happy with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow, right?
Right. But it got to look like that.
But they want to run the ball. And they had a first-round pick at running back. Like, they want to run the ball. Right?
Kevin Falk, Kendall Cleveland,
yes.
You know, Cecil Collins,
the Diesel
Collins,
Justin Vincent,
Justin Vincent, bro.
Don't kill you if you want to go back,
man. They Leonard Fournette, who is the quintessential LSU, you know, running back, right? Like, that's what they want.
They want to run the ball. Florida wants to play Lane Kiffin football.
Yeah, man.
Lane Kiffin football with no Nick Saban to tell him to run the ball can go off the rails at LSU fast. The other thing is, I don't feel like Lane's demonstrated himself to be a guy that gonna get the defense right. He might get the defense right, but you're gonna need to cut a big check and hope that. And too bad for them, Dave Aranda did not get fired. Right? Like, hope that Dave Aranda gets fired and moves comfortably into a world that, I guess, if it doesn't exist now, will exist soon, of the $6 million top flight defensive coordinator, right?
Right. Well,
that gets to be head coach of the defense.
Allegedly, according to reporting, he's shown a willingness to have Coach O on his staff, even if he go back to LSU. Allegedly.
Look, people think I'm joking. Ryan is tired of me saying this. The best coach for LSU to hire, just while y'all get this shit settled down and figured out, without question, is Ed Orgeron.
You said just get them back in a room together. It's like, hey, man, just look, they're going to be over for the house.
It's only going to be about 3 years, right? like get Ed. Ed will get you the players that you want. Ed will get it done, right? You got to give. What happened to Ed was, and he's right about this, Ed had the brain drain happen to him, right? Lost Joe Brady, lost Dave Aranda, and of course, Ed lost his wife and was trying to holler at the ladies at practice by bringing their sons in.
He told old girl at the gas station, apparently, what that got to do with me. She said she was married. He's like, what's up?
But his thing was not. I talked to somebody. No, I know it was what it was. What's that matter is what he said. And I talked to somebody who made a very good point in defense of Ed Orgeron on that. Is Ed Orgeron is such a maniac that he really might have wanted to work out with her, like that. It is possible that he's like, well, can he? Maybe he want to work out too. Like, this is this is what it could be. But you said before the show you had a defensive lane. Was that a little meager bit that you just offered the defensive lane?
The defensive lane is that there's no good way to do this. And part of the problem is that the schools are being extremely stupid and I was just thinking about this. Why did they fire their coaches so early in the year? Because as Florida falls apart now. Like, Florida, the thing that I always said about Billy Napier and that staff, I was like, man, them boys play hard for him. They may not play well, but they play hard. And it looks like they've just kind of given up. And LSU last night was struggling with Western Kentucky. Barely they couldn't even put up 20 points against Western Kentucky, man. So I'm like, why are they firing coaches so early? Why are they punting on the year?
But you know why they are. It's early signing day. The early signing day was a useless, terrible decision.
Yeah, because you're not going to be able to take advantage of it anyway under these circumstances.
Right. But you can't. That we started seeing this move to these early fires. That is when we saw it happen.
Who was it, like Willie Taggart? He was one of the first I remember.
The Willie Taggart, Chad Morris year.
Yeah.
Was a year of that. But it got to be like, we need to be able to start like clearing this out for whatever the future is going to be on that. And I agree with you that firing these coaches a month into a football season is preposterous.
Yeah. You told the kids that the season doesn't matter anymore. You've given up.
That is exactly what you said.
What are they supposed to think? Their coach isn't there anymore. They got a substitute teacher for the rest of the year.
Yes. So, and they're not just doing it. They're doing it and they don't even know where they're going to get the money from.
Bro, they don't know where they're going to get the money from. Okay, here's the thing. You fired Billy Napier, and we've known you were going to fire Billy Napier all this time. Why can't you be like Virginia Tech and already have your coach by now then? If it was going to be this anyway, like you were going to be coming down to the stretch, and if that guy turns you down, you're going to have to go to plan B. Why didn't you just wait?
But to be fair, Virginia Tech did not think that they were going to be lucky enough to see James Franklin get fired.
That's a very good
and while
point.
there are many legitimate criticisms of James Franklin to be made, the difference between James Franklin and Lane Kiffin.
I would rather have James. I feel like James is going to be straight no matter where.
Well, I will say this though: there are more criticisms of James Franklin as a game day coach than there are of Lane Kiffin.
Yeah,
there are more criticisms of, and this is the big one, James Franklin as a developer of quarterbacks, or perhaps a ruiner of quarterbacks, depending upon who you talk to, than Lane Kiffin. Lane ain't ruined no quarterback. He may make it a little bit too easy, and you get fooled by what you got there. But they got Virginia Tech relative to the weight class that they are in. They made a great hire.
They're good. The program at Penn State was solid. Like if the big thing is that they couldn't beat Ohio State, or they were throwing into the end zone in the semifinals and didn't beat Notre Dame, and that was that they didn't come up
in the what? Hold on, in the what?
Semifinals.
What semifinal?
The college football semifinal.
The whole country semifinal.
Yeah, the whole country. Yeah, yeah, the whole country. Yeah, bro, they could have played in the national championship game last year. They could have played in it was that close, right? And Penn State, they fired James Franklin. It all fell apart. I guess they, like you said on here, they were tired of him. They didn't want to go on. They were ready to move on. But okay, has it helped you? Like early signing day is pretty soon here. Right. Where's your guy? Where's the guy that you had? If you're gonna fire James Franklin, you should upgrade, right?
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I applaud the coaches that looked around and said to them, like Baylor did with Dave Aranda.
Yeah.
They looked around and they're like, yeah, nah, not right now. Not right now.
Yeah.
I think North Carolina is ultimately going to punt the Belichick decision. They're just going to make them get, what's his name, out of there? Lombardi. Yeah, Lombardi just going to have to get out of there. But, it's some other jobs where I think they've looked around. I don't know if Florida State can afford to bring Norvell back just because the milk done gone so bad. But they ain't got the money, so they might not have a chance. USC clearly is stuck on this.
Yeah, man. I feel like
that is a failed experiment.
I want to see Lincoln another year, because he's going to have the number one ranked recruiting class coming in. It does seem like this is the year that you can kind of see, okay, he finally has a defense. If he can keep D'Anton Lynn, the defensive coordinator, and they can build on that, and they bring in that number one ranked recruiting class, I kind of feel like USC is in position. The only game that they lost this year that you really are like, why did y'all lose that game, is Illinois. And it like, the dynamics of it, traveling early, playing out there, the travel and everything. That's just going to be part of it. But I feel like that wasn't, that's the game. It's like, damn, they would have been in the playoffs. But anyway.
They're gonna forever hate that. I guess it was a decision that they had to make. But that Big Ten, I think going to the, interestingly enough, I think going to the Big Ten made Oregon somehow a better looking job.
Yeah,
made USC a worse looking job. and I don't know what to say about Washington. You know what I mean? Like, it's just and turn UCLA into Northwestern.
Man.
But I guess UCLA has kind of been Northwestern for the last 30 years. But I just don't. I think that argument about those flights is real, and there are more flights to be had for them than there are for other people. The problem is what Lincoln doesn't get is ain't no time to whine, baby. Ain't nobody trying to hear it, and they're sick of his shit. But I think they're stuck with him for another year.
I mean, I think they're stuck. I mean, you may be right that may not be as great a fit as people thought, but I feel like next year it'll be the really sort of the pivot year for him. It's like this is his Franklin year. It's like, all right, you got your number one ranked class. I guess I think Mayava is a junior too, so he'll get to come back next year too. So, but I think they'll be okay. But yeah, I mean, I would say that move to the Big Ten because it was like, well, USC had the West Coast on lock, bro. And it's just like, well, now that everybody's open out here, and I was like, well, Oregon's got more money, the program, the proof of concept. It's like, if it's all going to be far away, I might as well go up there, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's the other part, too, is that, and this is the thing I felt when Texas A&M went into the SEC and why it was so bad for the Big 12. That just meant that Alabama was coming in and getting Texas players. Yeah. But Texas A&M wasn't getting no Alabama players.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ole Miss was coming in and getting Texas players. Because the door had been open.
Oh, they got that tackle out of Allen. Remember the year that the Hugh Freeze and them? They feasted on dudes. They feasted on cats out of Texas.
His final three, I want to say, were Ole Miss, LSU, and Alabama. But that's the point I'm making is that I think that California became more, and I need to look at what's actually happening, but I would assume that California got a lot more open to the Big Ten in a way that Ohio did not get that open to USC. But we're going to take a break right fast. Coming up, we're going to talk a bit more about the rivalry games coming up, and one of which, the one that Ryan Day probably should win. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Shorter days don't have to be so dismal. It's time to reach out and check in with those you care about and to remind ourselves that we're not alone. As seasons change and days grow darker sooner, it can be a tough time for many, especially as your athletic season gets busier. This November, BetterHelp is encouraging everyone to reach out, check in on friends, reconnect with loved ones, and remind the people in your life that you're there. Just as it can take a little courage to send that message or grab coffee with someone on your team you haven't seen in a while, reaching out for therapy can feel difficult too, but it's worth it. And it almost always leaves people wondering, why didn't I do this sooner? BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and preferences, and our 12-plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means we typically get it right the first time. If you aren't happy with your match, switch to a different therapist at any time from our tailored recs. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is one of the world's largest online therapy platforms, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works, with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. Whether you're checking in on a friend or reaching out to a therapist yourself, BetterHelp makes it easier to take that first step. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Bomani. That's betterhelp.com/Bomani. All right, we're back with Joel Anderson. Ryan Day gonna win this time, right? Ohio State's going to beat Michigan this time, aren't they?
I think so. I mean, have you seen Michigan play this year?
I have not seen them play this year. They're not good from what I've been able to glean.
They're not an entertaining watch. You know what it is? It's
even like with that quarterback.
Yeah, they're just not. I mean, I feel like he hasn't developed in quite the way I expected him to this year. And I'm just like, well, maybe they don't have a great receiving core. Right. So that's a big part of it. Like they had a freshman emerge recently, Andrew Marsh, but they're still sort of limited on the edge. And so it's like the big thing for them will be next year. Like, all right, what does he look like? What does that receiving core look like? But they just, I feel like they got to fight to get to 21. And if Ohio State is in the right frame of mind and Ryan Day is about his shit, they should blow Michigan out. But I thought that last year, too.
That's about to say.
Yeah, I thought that last year, too.
There's a big but, and you cannot lie. And there it is right there. So I did not realize that Michigan had gone 9-2 so far this year because I just talked to Michigan fans, and they are ready to rush Jerome Brown out of there. This happens. but this often happens. But look, they're 9-2. The losses have not been bad. I mean, the margins were not great, but the losses, I would argue, have not been bad. I don't think they've beaten too many people this year. I think that's the argument to be had. And all of this is why Ryan Day might want to make sure they go out here into the big house and put up some numbers.
I mean, man, the thing is, though, so what do you think? If he loses that game somehow, inexplicably, okay, and then goes on and wins the national championship, I don't know. And I guess I would want to hear from Ohio State fans how they would feel about that. Because I know it's frustrating to them. Like, that's not, they don't feel the same.
They would much rather win that game than win a national championship.
You think so this year? For real?
Let me ask you a question. This is serious. Ohio State won a national championship in 1968.
Yeah.
They did not win another national championship until 2002.
Right.
Nobody criticizes John Cooper for not winning a national championship. Nobody criticized Earl Bruce for not winning a national championship. There is credit given to Jim Tressel for winning a national championship, but what Jim Tressel really gets credit for is beating Michigan over and over. That is a one-game job. But what is interesting about Ohio State is I've always felt the people in charge are still fairly reasonable. And if you are doing okay at the other stuff, you can keep your job while you keep losing. So it's not like Ryan Day will get fired if they lose to Michigan. Just telling you, the national championship does not soothe that pain.
That's true. I guess you're right. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about it is that I feel like this was in very recent memory that people were getting sick of Jim Harbaugh because they were underperforming and losing to Ohio State. Right. And Ryan Day only had like one or two of those wins maybe over him. And so it kind of flipped on him. But I just I think if you have a great coach, and I'm talking about what I would want to see in the world if I was Ohio, because it feels like if I was an Ohio State fan, I'd be really happy, man. My roster's so talented. The season is not very dramatic. We're great. We're always playing. We've got, like you said, we got a 1 or 2 game season, and we know we're going to be good other than that. Don't you want to cherish that and hold on to that for as long as you can? Yes,
but I think this is the disconnect. They don't think the coach has anything to do with that. They think that, and I think they're right.
They've got an argument.
We could get somebody else to do this. Like their argument is that it's not that hard to find a coach to win at this rate at Ohio State. Now, while they might be right, the counter argument is this. The 2 coaches that they've had in the course of the last 25 years who have done this are 2 of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah. Wait.
Like, no matter what it is we say about Urban is a bad dude, man. Like, I mean, and Urban is a bad dude.
I mean, look, Bo, I was like, if LSU somehow just was like, fuck it, let's just get Urban, and they could convince him, I would be scared. I would be scared
for like 4 years.
Yeah, for 4 years. Yeah. Yeah. 4 years.
After that. But like for 4 years, you're absolutely right. And look, Tressel did work, man.
He did, man. They were very good pro. Yeah.
It ain't my kind of football. but Tressel did work. But no, they just think we're just gonna get somebody else. Like we don't need you to get this done.
I suppose. I mean, Ohio State has better reason to say that than anybody else in this country. Like even Oklahoma can't say that. Like, so no, Ohio State. The only time I've really seen them not be good in my lifetime was that year Luke Fickell had them.
And even that year, but there were circumstances like there was Terrell Pryor out of school, firing the coach, and all this happening in February.
Right. It was a mess of an offseason, and so they really kind of punted on that year. But
and the next year they went, and then the next year they went undefeated.
12-0. But I don't. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like Ohio State is going to win this game, and it's going to be right with the world in the order. And then then it'll be like, all right, man, Sharon, you on the clock. Like next year, it'll be your black ass on the line.
But what was your caveat? When we said all this just a minute ago.
Oh yeah, I thought that last year.
Started all last year.
I thought that last year.
Started all last year. And by the way, that national championship don't mean nothing right now, based on that. Right?
That's a fair point. I mean, the thing they say that they were not going to fire him last year, right? If they'd only been a 14. No, I'm talking about Ohio State.
Yeah, no, that's the part I think people don't
If it had been 14 playoff, they said they wouldn't fire. But it would have been, the feelings would have been so hard.
No, that's the thing. They're not going to fire you. Alabama doesn't fire you.
Yeah.
You leave.
Yeah, they make it so you can't stay. Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, not even make you say. You say they don't have to. Like, I guess the big thing make you say it. But you look around yourself and you're like, nah, man, I just don't think I want to do this. Like at some point, Kalen DeBoer is going to look around and just be like, no, like if somehow he get his ass beat this week, which I don't think is humanly possible. But I'd quit. I'd quit before I got back to my car.
So there's two interesting things about this week. Did you see there was a report, and I think it's called the Center Times, reported that Kalen DeBoer is the top target for Penn State?
Yeah, every good job should call and see.
Yeah, I was like, that actually kind of makes sense.
It might be your lucky day, right? Because I don't know enough about Alabama, like if they got their money game right, if they got the alignment that you need to do this. Because if you don't, hey man, you need to look around. I mean, Nick Saban almost left for Texas, and Texas blew it. They had it, right? And everybody talks about what a hassle that job is. And Nick Saban looked at Alabama with all the winning that he was doing and was like, no. Hey, look, man, Bear Bryant had one bad post-integration year. He quit his job and died a month later.
Yeah, died a month later. I know, man. Yeah.
Died a month later. But it is rivalry week. We've talked a bit about these games. Lane turned out to be a richer topic of discussion. But Texas A&M play. Yeah, this appears to be the best Texas A&M team of all time.
That's a man, you know what?
I mean, it's actually not that long a list to discuss, but
you 91?
Remember that? But here's the way I'm gonna put it. You remember that time A&M had a good offense and a good defense? Because those Slocum teams were just all wrecking crew, all defense. Bucky Richardson, Lance Pavlis, other mediocre quarterbacks.
But you know, it was like Dante Hall.
They were.
McElroy, Darren Lewis.
But then they'd get to those Cotton Bowls against Notre Dame or whoever it was, and they couldn't score no points. They were clearly a tier below. That's not the case right now. Now, they almost got handled in that game against South Carolina. Now, look, I don't root for Texas anymore, but I'll hate A&M to the day I die. And I don't really hate them. I just don't think very much of them. That's a better way to put it.
You don't want to see them happy. It's kind of funny to see them frustrated.
It's more than kinda, right? Yeah. There's no way for them to get back down to 8 wins, which is generally what the Texas A&M season is 8 wins. Keep in mind, a school that hasn't won a conference championship since 1988. 1998, yes.
Yeah, put some respect on Sid Parker's name.
Sorry, 1998. Yeah. But few things brought me joy, like last year, that game that they had been waiting 13 years for, their opportunity to play. And look, that's a game that Texas is not supposed to have any chance at winning. It's the same way Bill Curry really got run out because he lost that first game that they had played in Auburn in like 50 years.
Right.
There was no chance that Alabama was ever going to win that game, right? Like there's just some games you're not going to win. The environment is going to be such that you have no chance of winning that game. That's what that was. And for those who don't know, they had historically played the Iron Bowl at Legion Field in Birmingham. But that was really an Alabama home game every year. And so for years, Auburn had fought, and they finally got the game on campus for 1989. They've been playing the game on campus basically since. They got the game back for 1989. Alabama was not going to win that game. Alabama went into that game 10-0. They lost it 10-1. They lost the Sugar Bowl to the national champion Miami Hurricanes 10-2. They basically ran Bill Curry off his job immediately after. Okay. I thought that there's no way Texas A&M can lose that game. They haven't played this game since 2011. They've wanted this game so bad. The self-esteem of that entire university is relative to what it is to the University of Texas, and they lost. And I don't even remember it being close. Man, they just lost.
That was a good Texas team, though, man. I
hear you, but
I know
you hear me, right?
Oh, I hear you.
So now the game is back at Austin. It's the first time this game has been played in Austin in 15 years, right? Texas. Still, look, they're not the team people thought they were going to be.
No.
I would argue that Arch is much better than he was to start the year.
Absolutely.
And they still got boys. Like, A&M should win this game. And if A&M doesn't win the game, they're probably still in the playoff. But it'll be funny if they lose.
A&M is good, but they're not so good that you look at them against Texas and say, oh, they should be able to handle them. Like, they're going to have to fight. Like, that is going to be a very difficult game for them.
They almost lost to a bad team.
Also, the knock against A&M in its conference schedule this year is that they have not played any of the good teams. Like, they've only played teams at the bottom half of the league so far. So we don't know what it's going to be like. I guess they did square up against Notre Dame earlier in the year, and really, they got kind of lucky in that game, but they squared up, and Notre Dame looks like one of the best teams in the country right now. So they've got a lot of talent, but it's just like, man, even when Texas looks bad, you're still like, man, they still got talent on the defense. Like, and you tell me about this. We haven't talked about this with you. Texas has never had anybody like Colin Simmons my entire life. Colin Simmons is 101 for Texas. They've never had that guy before, right? Anthony Hill is really good. They got a great secondary. They've got a lot of talent over there. So it's
I'm just sitting here thinking about this because you're right. Like, Simmons is. So you mean specifically from a defensive end?
Yeah, from a defensive end. Like, Arakpo is the closest.
Sergio at when they had Arakpo and Sergio at the same time, it was
they were nasty. But I just feel like Colin Simmons is going to be top 5 pick guy. Like, he's going to be like one of those defensive end guys or one of those pass rushers that like the league is going to scoop up. Like,
I think that's fair. Yeah, because I would say just as a defensive player, right?
Yes.
Derek Johnson is way high on the list.
Well, Derek Johnson changed. I feel like again, before that, my image of Texas linebackers were like Tommy Nobis. You know what I mean?
But it's also just a state that doesn't produce linebackers.
Yeah.
Like, Derek Johnson, the best linebacker in the state prior to Derek Johnson, like when you put it all together, is Jesse Armstead. And there's a lot of years between Jesse Armstead and Derek Johnson. And we don't really have that much to talk about post Derek Johnson. It's just a state that doesn't produce linebackers for whatever, which seems weird because it's a state that produces running backs.
So many great athletes. Yeah, you would think. I'm forgetting somebody. Yeah, like the Royland Bradleys, all those guys, like they were good in college, but they just never, they didn't become the NFL guys we expect. Mike Singletary, though, H-Town legend.
That is true.
My thing about them though is that I don't know, man. I think Colin Simmons is just kind of a one-on-one, like not Andre Wadsworth, but just like in the vision of all the elite defensive ends we've ever seen before. The other guy that I'm thinking of too on defense though that you didn't mention, but I know you will. You remember when I say his name, Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas was the kind of guy that Texas had never really had before either. Earl Thomas is Texas's Ed Reed.
Yeah, you could say Earl is I'm trying to think like better defensive players that Texas has had. Like, how far do I need to go before Earl to get to one as good as Earl? Because we're taking Arakpo off the list, for example.
Okay,
right? We're taking. I'm saying, but like I think Earl was a better player than Arakpo was, and that's as a redshirt sophomore. We only got 2 years of Earl playing there. We're talking about Earl. We're talking about like this list is like we're looking at Arakpo. Earl's a better player, I think, than Sergio Kendall was.
Bruh.
Yeah, Earl was that dude.
Yeah, man. All the great Texas guys now have all happened within our lifetime. And it's like a new thing because, again, as we mentioned earlier, kind of the Ole Miss shit, them guys went to A&M. They went to Florida State. They went to Oklahoma.
They went to Miami.
They went to Miami. Yeah, Texas didn't get those guys. And that's why I'm like, Colin Simmons is the kind of guy that when we were growing up, it would have been like David Warren. Like, he would have gone to Miami or something like that. I guess now, LSU.
Yeah, it started turning interestingly with Makovic. And then Mac Brown was just kind of like, hey, man, like, I can't stop asking me to keep answering for them other white men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah. They let him into Dallas Carter. He talked his way into Dallas Carter, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mac got game, boy.
Have you ever been to an A&M Texas game?
Oh, no, I haven't. I have not been in either of those stadiums. But Joe, you got to remember, I moved when I was 16. I haven't been back in a long time.
Oh, dog. We got to
first of all, I'm not really trying to go to College Station.
I think you need to go. I think you need to spend a Saturday in Kyle man. I really do. I've done it a few times, and I was there in like 97 for the. So that was the last one before the bonfire, right?
97. The bonfire was in 99.
99. Okay. Yeah, so then that's right. Because let's see, the game the next year, 98 was in Austin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you fight? Because if you can fight, we can go.
I don't know if I can fight anymore.
We're going to find out, I think.
You'll be okay. You'll be okay. You'll be all right. Them people, those are actually your people. You know what I'm saying? That's right. They right down the street from you.
They are. They really are.
Look,
man, my high school is a Maroon White High School. Aggie Warhill was I'm very familiar with the archetype. And it's interesting because I don't dislike them.
Yeah.
But you get them around 100,000 others.
It's an interesting play. I just think it's a very unique environment in college football. And I don't know if this, and people, A&M fans tell me if this is still a thing, the stadium would shake. Like the press box would shake because of it's got some pageantry, man. I think it's a big part of it. And it's a great place to watch a game. But Texas isn't quite the same, but Texas is still a fun play. That game in and of itself is something that you need to go to.
Well, you and I have talked about this. We've talked about doing a Texas-Oklahoma. We've talked about doing a Texas A&M. The difference between you and I, of course, is you are married with children, so it's a little more difficult for you to carve out space. But come make it happen, big dog. I'm down. If you're down to make it happen, I'll make it.
I want to do this. I think I want to do the OU Texas thing though instead.
That'll be easier because it doesn't interfere. Have a holiday wrapped around it. Let's say we're gonna do it 2026. People listening right now. Let's say let's go ahead and because I'm saying, man, I'll do it.
Okay,
Please believe that. I'll do it.
As long as I get enough heads up, I can do it. And man, bro.
Your heads up is 10 months.
I'm saying right now. Okay, then I'm gonna ask. Okay, I'm gonna ask. But we go. Have you been to the State Fair in Texas?
I have. I have been once. It's been a very, very, very long time.
Oh, bro. Oh, so fun.
But you know what I hate, as you just talk about having to ask your wife if you can make this trip.
Why you have to pay like that?
No, I mean, no, because you're married. I mean, it's life. I get it. I'm not saying that with judgment, but I admit for us, we're not gonna have time. Maybe we'll try this another time to talk about. I'm gonna talk about this maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna talk about this on Monday. That is Nuzzi and Lizza and dignity and the distinct lack thereof.
Man, bro. Look, man. I think with the Lizza thing is that you can hate somebody so much and be so done with them that you're just willing to humiliate yourself.
You're willing to burn yourself, set yourself on fire in the same process.
I hate you so much that I'm gonna shoot you and kill myself. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna just drop this line right now, and maybe I'll drop it later when I talk about it at another point. If I talk about it at another point, but I need everybody to understand this. I can't remember if I said this in the chat or not. Okay, but fellas, that story about that time that your girl cheated on you and you took her back, and then she cheated on you again. That story is not going to play for you. There's no way that you can dress this story up. There's nothing that you can put in this story. And that's what this Ryan Lizza guy does not understand. There's nothing that you can do to the story about the time that your girl cheated on you and you took her. Women can perhaps tell that story and be like, man, see, they ain't shit, right? Yeah, girl, they ain't shit. That's not, especially not no woman 20-something years younger than you.
Bro,
this is not.
I'm not trying to judge.
Hold on. The woman you left your wife and kids for.
Well, that's the thing. You're just not going to be a sympathetic figure in the middle of all this, bro. I mean, I can imagine that this is tremendously humiliating and that to go through the world with people knowing that about my life, that would be really hurtful. But bro, you're just not the person that people care about in this situation, man. You just are not, nobody did you wrong. This is what you signed up for.
Right. And so for people who don't know what happened, we'll get through this right quick. Ryan Lizza is a famous political writer. This woman, Olivia Nuzzi, is a famous political writer. They used to be together. Man left his wife and kids for her. She is much younger than him.
20-something years.
Yeah, anyway, she's early 30s now. But
31, 32.
Long and short, she had done a profile of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and fell in love with him, and her man caught her somehow, some way. And so she got pulled off she had to, get pulled off to covering election stuff because, she had a relationship she said was non-sexual, not really the point. And so she has written this book that talks about all the stuff that she'd been doing. And now her ex-boyfriend is now writing his stuff about the stuff that she was doing. And it's just turned into this big old messy thing that also involves Keith Olbermann because she used to date Keith Olbermann. And the dude Ryan Lizza wrote in his newsletter about how Olbermann had given her $15,000 worth of Cartier jewelry and tomboy dresses and everything else. And my favorite part of this is Keith Olbermann being like, brother, I was with her for 4 years and I was making a lot of money. What you think I was supposed to do, dog? He was like, it ain't tricking if you got it, homeboy. It ain't tricking if you got it, yeah. He's like, yeah, I put her through school. Yeah, like he put her through all this. He was like, do you know how rich I am? Do you understand what my paper on?
Oh, he's like, you sound broke. That's me. You sound broke. You
and I ain't gonna lie, my attitudes about spending on women definitely changed as my pockets did.
Yeah, right.
Right? But he was just like, no, this is what it is. Like, I can't, and this is true after you get to a certain point, there's some things you have to do. You ain't got to do them all. But oh my God, it was just so bad. But this dude has written out all these stories and none of them they all make him look like a first-class simp. First-class simp. And these other cats is like, I'd rather be a trick than a simp.
Yeah, man. I mean, just makes you look like a sucker. But again, man, love will make you do crazy things, man.
Yeah.
And, I think that I don't know the particulars here. I don't know these people. I've never spoken to them before. But I imagine, man, you probably, again, this is kind of like the Belichick situation. He probably never thought he was going to see a young naked body again. And he got to do it. And now it's hard to let it go. So he's just, well, all right, baby. All right, come on home. I'll take this.
The only thing I would say about Belichick, though, is Belichick seemed a whole lot happier with his woman than this Ryan Lizza guy seen with his.
Oh, yeah, man.
Hey, man, y'all say whatever you want about Bill Belichick, man. The part I keep coming back to is I ain't never seen this man look that happy.
Oh, bro.
I keep telling you about when I saw him pull up at that pop-up at the Super Bowl. You could tell him he ain't had the baddest thing in the room, and Sierra was in that room, dog.
They clowned him for going to that adult cheerleading competition thing. He's exactly where he wants to be.
Yo, I was like, when I saw that, that's when I was like, you got it, big dog.
Yeah, man.
You got it. Like, that was really kind of you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, baby, I'm going to support you, man. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it sounds like, it sounds like he doing what you're supposed to do in this game.
Yeah, man, this is a relationship, This is her little activity.
I think that was the part that got me. It was like, isn't that what you do?
Yeah, she goes to his games.
I thought that's what love was. And clearly this cheerleading stuff is very important to her because she still does it.
I mean, man. And you can't, cheerleading is a very involved activity. Like, you can't just, like, fuck around and do it every now and again.
Yeah, I saw that, and my thought, honestly, was good for them.
Yeah, man.
Everybody just wants to just talk so bad about him. I'm like, hey, man, this man looks really happy, and she seems very capable of making her own decisions.
Yes, look, bro.
She's capable of making her own decisions and some of his.
I can understand if his family is perturbed, and there's reporting around that says, yeah. But it's just kind of like, look, man, sometimes you got to let people find out for themselves, man. You're not going to talk him out of loving her. He's going to have to fall out of love with her.
Right. That's Joel Anderson. Check him out at the Ringer Tailgate. Check him out at the Press Box. Or occasionally check him out on my show, Hating on Me in My Face.
Yeah, I mean, you started it. And so I think everybody can see that again.
All I said, the only thing I said was that you be hating. And then you immediately started hating. That is not starting it.
Kind of feel like it is, but that's fine. Hey, look,
I called a hater, and the hater started hating it.
I'm just glad I could spend time with you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of you, all the work you've been doing. You've been doing a great job this year, and more shows for me to listen to. I'm going to say things like that. You know what I'm saying? Just going to read. What was my mother used to say about me? Because she called me a contrarian as a kid. And she'd be like, I'm going to redirect your energy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm redirecting your energy right now.
I'm just going to say right quickly. When a mother calls her child a contrarian, it's because he's too young for her to say asshole in front of him. As my aunt said to me when I told her that my son was the freest Anderson that ever lived, she was like, well, you were pretty free too. And I was like, fair enough. I'm getting it back. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 4 times a week. Ryan Brumley handling everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. I'll also tell Joel after the break I peeped the little sneak diss he tried to play on me. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. I'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. See that sweatshirt? Take it easy.